Oh my gosh, YA is becoming Riverdale. Hello everyone, it's me, Sarah, and today I'm going to be talking about something. Obviously. It's a discussion that sometimes makes its rounds within the writing community, and it is come back once again. Some might call it a hot take, some might call it an unpopular opinion, and that is, my friends, is YA becoming too adult? Let me explain. In recent years, YA has been trending up, not just in popularity, but with character age. Now, the age range of readers for YA is pretty broad. It sort of changes ever so slightly depending on where you go. But the general consensus is that YA is supposed to be aimed towards teenagers between 13 and 18 years old. And recently, I don't think that's true. I think that YA in recent years is being written for adults, or at least that it's being intended to cross over into adult territory. YA has progressively gotten longer and darker. Older protagonists dealing with older themes such as sex, drugs, violence and angst, all while presenting typical YA themes such as coming of age, self-discovery and young love in the form of those horrendous love triangles. Sometimes it reads like the YA protagonists are 25 years old pretending to be 17. Oh my gosh, YA is becoming Riverdale. It feels like YA is no longer being written as a transition between middle grade and adult. Instead, it's being written for the adults who still read and buy YA. Characters who deal with adult things and exhibit adult behaviour in a typically young setting like high school. The current consensus and defence of this is that teens like to read up. Or in that particular fantasy setting, the adult behaviours of these teenagers actually make sense. Here's the issue. If YA is being catered towards the older half of its age range and above, what have the younger ones got? Are they expected to keep reading middle grade about characters who they may no longer relate to anymore? Are they expected to stop reading altogether? Or are they going to go ahead and read what's already out there despite not being ready for it or not wanting to, just because it's the only thing there that they can read? When I was 14, 15 years old, there is no way that I would have read Six of Crows or the Shadowhunter series or that one Sarah J Maas book that I can never remember the name of. I wasn't that kind of 15-year-old. Do I want my 14-year-old sister reading these books? No, I don't. Not particularly. But there's nothing else for her to read. Nowadays, if teens read up, they're 13, 14-year-olds reading about 17-year-olds who are acting like 25-year-olds. Just like Riverdale. And let's be fair, it's not just books. All media seems to be trending this way nowadays. Kids are expected to make the jump from shows like Hannah Montana and Victorious, please forgive the out-of-date references, you know what I mean, to shows like Riverdale and the new Sabrina the Teenage Witch. There doesn't seem to be a transition period between 13 and 17 years old anymore, and I find that quite scary, especially because it is such an important transition in a young teen's life. Teenagers are closer to kids in age, but why are we feeling the need to treat them like adults? It's not because of the teens, it's because of society. There are more and more adults reading YA nowadays. I'm one of them, and the publishing world seems to have decided that it's more important to cater to their adult audience who got the money than their teen audience who YA is intended for. I get it. You go where the money is, and people want more of the same. Whatever the popular authors write, that's what sells. And the popular authors will only write what's already selling, trying to appeal to the teens and to the adults who they also want to consume their work. Because let's be honest, it's always what's more important to the adults, making sure that everyone caters to the adults who also have to watch these things. That's why there's so many adult jokes and references in kids' shows nowadays. So the adults always have something too, but guys, it's not just about the adults. We've had our time. Let the kids be the kids. You know, I'm going off on a tangent now. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this is a bad thing. I'm not saying that stories like this aren't needed or wanted or that they aren't valid. They are. They completely 100% are. There are teens who enjoy reading such content. There are teens who can relate to this type of content at a young age because something in their life has forced them to act more like an adult. I don't want to push them away, or the adults who are also enjoying YA, but the younger teens, the ones who aren't quite ready for YA Riverdale, also deserve content that they can enjoy. This is obviously just my opinion. This is something that I have been thinking about and talking about on various social media for quite a while now. And you know what? It never used to bother me. I used to be one of those writers a few years ago where, upon hearing that YA was meant for 13 to 17-year-olds, went, well, 21-year-olds are technically young adults as well, right? So I'm perfectly okay with writing a story with a 21-year-old protagonist. Like, I used to be that person. That used to be me, because I wanted to write darker things. I never actually ended up doing it though. You know what, then someone brought up this great fact that the little ones, the younger ones, are getting left behind, and they don't have media that reflects their wants and their needs and their lives, because not every teenager is acting like a 25-year-old. Not every teenager is out there having sex or solving murder mysteries or breaking into prison. Not every teen wants to read those types of things. Maybe there are teens out there who already live this type of life and want to read something that reflects something else. We're so caught up in pandering, I don't want to say pandering, but trying to make the adults happy with the content and keep the adults buying this massive genre that has blown up in the past few years. You know what, I don't even know what a solution would be. I mean, we did have NA for a while, which was new adult, which sort of catered to the 18 to 25 or 30-year-old protagonists. We tried to get that going to cater for the adults who weren't quite ready for the actual adult section. Clearly it hasn't taken off, and it's just sort of gotten lumped in with YA itself, as opposed to becoming its own separate genre, which I think is a real shame. There seems to be this gap in the market almost. You've got your middle grade, you've got your content for the 12-year-olds, but then for the 13 to 16-year-olds, there's a missing gap. And they're either being forced to continue reading middle grade, which might be slightly too young for them, not that they can't enjoy it, or being forced to read the 17-year-old adult YA, which they might not be ready for, which their parents might not want them to read. It's one of those things where change isn't going to come from us writers writing this content. It's going to have to come from the publishers. It's going to have to come from the already established popular YA authors who write a younger protagonist and get that out there to show the world, guys, we like younger protagonists as well as the older ones, and younger protagonists in YA with unadult issues can still be profitable and can still speak to the older edge of YA as well as the older edge of middle grade, and still cater to the age group that YA is supposed to be catered towards. Anyway, those are my thoughts on YA as a genre. Again, this is just my opinion. I'm not saying that where YA is going is bad. I'm not saying that we don't need stories that are coming out of YA at the moment. I'm just saying that maybe we should take the time to think about what teens might want as opposed to what the adults might want. Maybe we need to think about filling that gap in early YA that is sorely missing, and let kids be kids for a little while longer. Let them enjoy teen angst without the adult stuff trapped in. Let me know your thoughts on the subject down in the comments below, and I will see you in my next video. Good thoughts and happy writing.